Okay, it is that time. Since we've got the body and everything looking good, it's time to look at the electrical and mechanical. Now, I've already got part of it disassembled. So I'm going to show you first. This is what we're looking at. Let's get in here so we can look at it. All right. So we got a Pitman motor. There are two of these. I already got one out. Okay, so you got two trucks. And as you can see here, there's some insulated. Let's get a pointer. Okay, so you can see there's an insulated washer. There's an insulator. There's an insulator. And there's a little power pickup wire here. Okay, so what's happening here is the wheels inside a truck. They have, as you can see, let's see if you can see. Let's zoom in so that you can actually see. Okay, as you can see here, there's an insulated wheel right there. You see that? It's got an insulator right there. So whatever power this gets doesn't matter. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't do anything. All right. But then it picks up power and everything's energized. And then what happens is that is transmitted from, in this case, this one here transmits, what did I say? This is oh no, we gotta look again. Okay, yep, this is the rear side. So this one is getting the black rail power on both trucks. And it is sending that power to this motor. Okay, then the other motor sits across from it. And these trucks on this side are getting red rail power. And they didn't have insulators, so part of this frame is energized. In fact, the entire shell then is also energized with red rail. All right, so then you've got trucks in the front, and fortunately they did it the right way. So the front ones are doing the red rail because there's the arrow, goes that way. Red is always right, and that motor here was sitting here and getting red rail power, and then these two wires here were they're wired in series. So it's no wonder why, because they have so many axles picking up power from each sides of the rail, and we got good track work for that. All right, but we're gonna make this DCC. So now we got to figure out this. All right, so we've got something like, where are we at here? Back here somewhere, something like this. Okay, and then this other truck goes in here too. So what we're gonna do is as you can see there, I've already got one of the 266 face rippers, and I've already cleaned this one truck. I'm doing one truck at a time without disassembling it. I want to put this one back together before I do another one. All right, so the problem we have, the main problem, now that we know how the power is picked up and where it goes, we have here a 5/64" shaft, which had a 12-tooth brass gear that is for a 5/64 shaft. I looked at my gearbox and I found, strangely enough, my box that says 12-tooth, it was empty, but these are these got a hole for 5/64. It's not 2mm. Well, this is a 2mm. So I have wrapped a piece of foil tape around it. And as I keep peeling it back, I'm going to get it to the point where I can get this 12-tooth gear all the way on here. That should not be a problem. I just keep peeling it back, cutting it off, and testing it. And it's already close enough where it goes through the, this tower fits right here. And it's going through this hole in this tower, like that. And I'm going to get down here level with it so you can see. And then this gear will go up there. Now, it doesn't matter, that's plastic. That's going to be just fine. What's not going to be as fine is, as you can see, it's not entirely level. So what I need to do here is, so I can do this a couple of different ways. But I think the easiest way is to put this in the milling machine and to mill off a couple thousandths on this very thick bracket. Because we don't need this bracket anymore. Let me tell you, taking these guys apart. These guys here, taking these guys apart, it's no wonder you haven't seen any videos or anything about doing this. Because you need a way to get this gear off this shaft and to get the motor off of this truck. It's ridiculously hard. And it does take some special tools. You need a punch set. And I even use the Northwest Shortline. I used the Northwest Shortline puller for part of this, although it wasn't that helpful. Turned out that, well, one piece of it was helpful. And that helped me remove the gear, remove this gear so I could get it out of, you got to get it out of this tower because you need this tower. And we don't need to take that gear off. It's already been through the ultrasonic. It's totally clean. We've got to put a little air tool oil on it. And then I think we'll do something. I think just a tiny coating of air tool oil will prevent this from corrosion. But as you can see, the corrosion ain't that bad. And this thing is 57 years old and doesn't really corrode. But just a little tiny brushing of some air tool oil will make it last another 57 years. But I say we just shave off just a little bit on this guy, and we can do that in the milling machine. And then we'll be level. And then we can do it. Now, the tricky part is going to be this. The hard part is going to be this truck here. We want to get power from the other rail on both ends. That's going to be hard. So what I'm thinking is phosphor bronze wire wipers on the top, on the top of the insulated wheels. That is something we have done before. We could do again. All we really need to do is put some little piece of acrylic or plastic or something right here, and then bond that wire in there with a bunch of baking soda and super glue, and then just make sure that it's touching these wheels. And there's not a lot of room to touch them on the inside, but we can do it on the top. We can touch these guys on the top. If we touch them on the top, we should be okay. And there's enough room in this frame to bring up the wires we need to some power collector. We'll make a circuit board and we will collect power, and we'll get power from both ends. Then we'll share that power somehow, get all the power collected into one place. Then we will mount on some way, we will mount on some kind of a work platform where we can put our decoder. Right now the decoder I have on hand is a DH166D, which has 4 light functions. So far I've only identified one actual light function that we're going to use, and that's the beacon. The beacon itself is going to be a problem. But I may have to order. I could do a DZ123 in this, a Z-scale decoder, because it's plenty robust. But I think what we need to do is I better find a 126D, which just has 2 light functions, because we're only going to have all the lights we have planned so far, with the exception of the beacon, are constant lights, even if we can get a cab light going. And we haven't figured out yet how we're going to do a cab light. But if we are getting power from both sides, the only problem with the cab light is if we draw off that power through this hole right here, through here, if we draw off that power through there, we're going to have to put a bridge rectifier and a resistor and a circuit board and a bunch of stuff into the cab if we want to make that happen. And I'm not sure that that project is worthwhile to do, but we'll see when we get there. One thing we do know is taking off the shell is a critical component of doing maintenance. So we'll see what's happening. All right, so we're going to do one truck at a time. I'm going to get this guy running all by himself. Power pickup both trucks, gear tower in place, everything. And we're going to put this truck on the track in DC alone and have this one run all by itself. We can do that. Then we can put on this truck, do the same thing, because all it is going to do is add extra power to it. That's all there is to it. And that seems pretty simple, but I think when we're done with this, we ought to make a diagram and make that available to everyone who wants it. I'll put it in there. Whatever that place is I got on the YouTube channel where we can put documents, I should do a diagram of this so that people can find out how it's wired. The only diagrams you can get are like parts lists and exploded views. It doesn't tell you what does what, and doesn't tell you how to do anything. And it doesn't tell you how to do it definitely does not tell you how to get this motor off of here. And that one, that ain't easy. Alright, so that's where we're at. And mechanical is underway.